The Tao of Self-Confidence, Episode 180. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women finding their inner journey to self-confidence 5 days a week. Visit our blog at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Well, hello, friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap Chan. And today I have a special lady who's all the way from Vancouver, British Columbia, on the other side of Canada. And she is a mompreneur, and I'm just really excited to have her on and share her story and tips about self-confidence. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Genicca Whitney. Genicca, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to the listeners.
Hi, I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. So my name is Genicca Whitney, and I'm a mompreneur. I'm on a mission to empower women to take inspired action to live out their wildest dreams. We stand at the tipping point of a new future, and I truly believe that it's an extraordinary time for women, especially in the 21st century, to recognize their strength and capabilities. I believe that women are on the rise to becoming some of our most profound, most influential, most powerful leaders. And with the right community to support us, the tools to leverage, and the mindset to conquer life's biggest battles, miracles are bound to happen. I have a blog where I share tips and strategies about entrepreneurship. I also share my own personal experiences with entrepreneurships and what I've learned not only as a woman in business, but as a mother in business. I actually started venturing into entrepreneurship myself when I turned 19. So, 11 years later, I feel like I have a lot of experience, and recently becoming a mother, I've, experienced a lot with juggling both worlds. I also host events throughout the year that unite entrepreneurs alike to come together and set goals, to connect, and to give back. And right now I'm working on releasing my podcast, where I interview influential women in business, women on the rise, and mompreneurs. And I invite them to give us insight into their real authentic journeys of building a successful business and what that looks like. So we talk about things like how they got started, their struggles, challenges along the way, failures, breakthroughs, and wins. So in a nutshell, I guess you could say I'm dedicated to creating a platform for the doers and a window for the dreamers.
I love it. You sound like a busy, busy woman. So I'm excited to see your podcast and everything else that's coming up for you. And Genicca, what's your cultural background?
I'm Filipino, born in Manila, Philippines. I came to Canada when I was 4 years old. And so I grew up in Toronto and moved to Vancouver when I turned 20, and I've never gone back, only to visit.
Well, you should come for a visit soon, especially with the warm weather coming up. And Genicca, what would be your favorite self-confidence quote?
Okay, so my favorite self-confidence quote is by E.E. Cummings, and he says that once we believe in ourselves, we can risk curiosity, wonder, spontaneous delight, or any experience that reveals the human spirit.
I love it. And, it really does come down to learning to believe in yourself, right? Especially with Asian women, I believe we've just been bogged down to just follow what other people tell us to do, which, really hurts us in the end, because then we don't learn to trust ourselves because we feel like we always have to get recognition or approval from somebody else. And, the more we learn to believe in our own abilities, like you said, our own strengths, the more we can go out there and do our own thing. So great quote. And, in your own words, how would you define self-confidence?
Yeah, I would define it as self-acceptance. I believe, when we embrace our imperfections, when we realize our worth, and when we have radical self-love, we can start to feel confident. I think that once we've reached this level of self-acceptance, we'll be able to parade around with our chin up, our back straight, and breathe confidence with every step.
Thanks for sharing that. And I love how you said radical self-love because, and anything and everything we have to do, whether it's changing careers, changing our lifestyle, it really has to start with us and learning to love ourselves. But, some people are afraid to do that because they feel like they're being selfish, when really we have to learn to love ourselves. And sometimes it might have to take a radical way so we can learn what it's like to deserve the kind of love we want, right?
Totally.
So, I really love that you said, radical self-love. It just kind of popped out when you said it. So just wanted to point.
Yeah, it has to be extreme.
Yeah.
Self-love.
Yeah, and there's points in our lives where we have to go to the extreme to get the results that we want. So, Genicca, what was your life like before your discovery of self-confidence?
Well, I believe that self-confidence is something that somebody develops over time. And for me, it's something that happened by accident. I founded self-confidence through curiosity. At a young age, for example, I was curious to try new things, sports specifically. So every time I tried a new sport, I may not have felt confident doing it, but I realized that I was good at it. And slowly I built my self-confidence. In high school, I went from working in fast food to working in retail. And I always considered myself as an introvert. But to my surprise, I excelled very well in sales, in dealing with people, and found that I enjoyed it. So again, through that experience, my self-confidence grew. And I believe that every time that I tried something new, I did have a level of insecurity, doubt, and fear, which I think is, human nature of us. But I think that I built my self-confidence over time once I gained more experience and developed, a love for it. And I think that, because not only was I curious, but I also pursued the curiosity. So there's, a difference between being curious about something and actually pursuing it. And so that's sort of how I ran my life. I was able to develop self-confidence because I don't question too much about, what I want to do. I try it, and then I either love it or I don't. I either fail or I succeed. And I think by doing that, I was able to obtain enough self-confidence to, make the move to Vancouver here on my own. And I believe in doing that, I met the man of my dreams. I've started a family as a career woman. And I think it just takes over time. And once you've developed enough self-confidence, you'll be able to pursue what it is that you truly desire.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. Is there any one moment in time when you realize you can do whatever it is you believe in, even if you had fears or failures, you just went ahead anyways, regardless of what anyone told you?
Yeah, actually, I remember working for a marketing company when I was 19, and I was, in the process of being promoted, and the graphics department in the back was telling me how, women in this business don't necessarily succeed. And that stuck with me for a long time. And I think subconsciously that's what motivated me to open my own marketing company. And when I was 20, I moved to Vancouver. I opened my own company, and I worked very hard at the business, even hired some staff and business partners. And finally, when I was 24, after 5 years working the business, I remember a point where I sat in my chair in my office and I said, wow, I am exactly where I've worked so hard all these years to be. And at that point, at that time in the summer, I had about 50 staff working for me. I had about 12 contracts all over Alberta, British Columbia, and of course, Vancouver, where I'm originally from. So I couldn't believe that I was sitting there and that everything that I had worked for was actually happening. And that's when I think that's when I had my wow moment.
Awesome. And it's amazing what, one person can tell you. It can either, make you succeed, or it can hinder you. And even though someone told you might not be able to make it, you just went ahead and did it anyways and proved them wrong. And now like you said, you have a successful business, you have, a pretty good staff, and you're having contracts from all over the world. So, all over Canada. So, after that aha moment, what's your life have been now?
So I feel like since having that moment, I've definitely taken more risks. I recently actually sold my marketing company because I just felt I outgrew it and I was looking for more challenges, and also because I want to pursue things that align with my values and my current lifestyle now, which is being a mom. And so part of that moment allowed me to also step away from that business and having the confidence to doing that and trying new things. And I believe trying new things requires a huge amount of self-confidence, and I don't think I would have taken anything big on if I wasn't able to achieve a lot of the things that I did. And so, right now I feel like I'm at a point where, my blog writing and being vulnerable is a huge thing for me. Launching my podcast is really exciting and nerve-wracking at the same time, but I feel like all my experiences allowed me to get to this point where I take new risks without fear.
Awesome. And I can't wait till your podcast comes out. So I'm sure it's going to inspire so many women out there to just go ahead and take action. I always say the more the merrier.
Totally, totally. I believe that we rise by lifting others. And, stories like mine might inspire or empower somebody. But, a lot of stories that I've read on the internet about people that I admire, books that I've read, their stories of how they started and the chances that they took, the risks they took empowered me. And so that's my goal, is to be able to, showcase what that's like for those people we admire so that others can feel inspired to do the same.
Awesome. I already know you're doing that when you least expect it. So, I just know it already. But, Genicca, to the woman who's listening to your episode, she may be in her own journey to confidence. What would be that one tip you would give to her?
The one tip I would give to a woman on the journey to self-confidence is to be gentle with yourself, and look at every situation as an opportunity to grow. And also be conscious of how you're comparing yourself to others. And again, going back to being gentle. And I think because we live in a time where we're so consumed by what everybody else is doing, whether that's on Facebook or on Instagram or on Snapchat, we can get so stuck without knowing it that we are actually deterring our self-confidence by comparing ourselves. And so I think being gentle with ourselves and acknowledging, our weaknesses as opportunities for growth, I think will strengthen our self-confidence over time. And if we do fail, if we do make mistakes, I think we need to be able to brush it off and allow ourselves to learn from it, to grow from it, and to keep moving forward.
Love it. Thanks for sharing all those tips. And I believe failure is a good thing. We've been pretty much told that failure is a bad thing, right? Especially when it starts in school. It's like you get an F, you failed, and it's like the end of the world. But really, failure is there to show you that, that's not the path you're going, and it doesn't have to be. There could be another path that could be better, and that can come more naturally to you. And sometimes you just have to take like that leap of faith to just go ahead and do it. And, I think we've also been hard on ourselves because society just hammers on women. You have to be you have to sit this way, and you have to talk this way, and you're not allowed to do this, and you're not, and it really just gets us all confused. It's like, how am I supposed to act, right? And in the end, you just act like yourself. Be your authentic self. And I think that's what's missing in the world. It's just there's not a lot of authenticity. And the more we can be just real with people, the more we can, inspire and be that change we want to be and we want to see in the world. So great tips, and thank you so much. And Genicca, if our listeners want to get to know a little bit more about you, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
Yes, absolutely. So my blog is www.genicca.com. And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Genicca, GeniccaDot.com, COM.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And to our listeners, if you want to connect with Genicca, you can also head on over to selfconfidence.com and search for Genicca's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else we talked about. And I just want to thank Genicca for taking the time to share her story and tips with us on self-confidence. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed sharing my story with you.
It was awesome having you on. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for joining us on the Tao of Self-Confidence. Visit thetaoofselfconfidence.com for links to everything we chatted about today, as well as killer resources, gifts, and so much more. Start your inner journey to self-confidence today.